Welcome back, everybody, to the second installment of this Gooder podcast.
No longer not so sports talk, even though we talk less about sports so far.
Cheers to that, my man.
So, obviously, you're a huge fan of the J.J. Watt signing.
Yes and no. I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic that this is one of the final pieces they need. I think my biggest concern is with Patrick Peterson
Yeah.
and I forget his name now. Fuck, the rookie linebacker.
Isaiah Simmons?
Yes. So, no, it wasn't Simmons. Oh my gosh. Wow, this is
He's
a
a
terrible.
rookie linebacker. He's
No, I don't think it's the
stud.
rookie. It was maybe it
Is he
was.
a rookie?
No, there was the guy who came in to replace Chandler Jones who balled out on the end. Hakeem.
Nicks? That's definitely not Nicks. That's the only Hakeem
No.
though.
I had his name written down.
I don't know the card.
But anyway,
I think I still think they need to get a better set, like upgrade their secondary. J.J. Watt obviously huge. When you got him and Jones coming off the edge, that's fucking sick. And
Hassan Reddick.
you weren't even close.
No, not even close, man. But okay, so I'm gonna jump back in there. So I think JJ Watt and Chandler Jones. That's gonna be great pressure
Deadly
off the
combination.
edge. That's gonna be good pressure. I'm happy with that. Even if JJ Watt, he's not recording a lot of sacks anymore, but he requires attention though, right? And that's the
I don't know
biggest.
so that's my thing is I don't know if he does anymore. I don't watch a lot of Texans games obviously because
They
who
suck.
does? But you don't. I just feel like he's been hurt more often, so maybe that's why you don't hear about him as much anymore. But ever since his like MVP season, no one's like he's kind of just been downhill. Obviously, you're not going to be better than that, but
Well, I think the thing with JJ Watt, it's not like I saw a stat somewhere and I forget the numbers, but I think he had like 8 sacks or something like that in the last 2 years, year, whatever it was. It wasn't a lot, but he had a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And that's a huge thing, right? So I think if you have Chandler Jones and JJ Watt coming off the edge, that's going to be deadly. Those are 2 reigning defensive players of the year. You got Budda Baker in the backfield. I think what would be the smart decision, say for Patrick Peterson, is for him to sign a 1-year deal that's cheap, because he understands the situation that the Cardinals are in, where it's like with Tom Brady, for instance. Tom Brady's taking pay cuts so he can get better players. Patrick Peterson should take a pay cut for this year, prove to other people that he's still worth top dollar as a corner, but then that will allow them to get another DB who is equal of value of Patrick Peterson. You know what I mean? So then you can have Budda Baker, Patrick Peterson, and then bring somebody in, and then that's a fucking 3-headed monster right there almost.
like I think Patrick Peterson needs to be a number 2 at most. Preferably, I would like him on the slot on number 3, or even like if they have a good slot receiver, I'd like him in the slot just because I don't think he's as good of a player anymore. Don't get me wrong, he's still good. Like Jimmy Smith in Baltimore, at one point in time he was a stud. We paid a lot of money, and now we keep resigning him like longer term contracts, and he's our rotation. Like, it's good rotation. If someone gets hurt, he can step into that number 1, number 2 spot. But they're an excellent number 3, cover the number 3 receiver of the slot. Like it works out perfectly.
Yeah.
But I think that is the Cardinals' biggest need, even before they added JJ Watt, was their secondary.
Yeah.
And you guys need to shore up your. I don't know how good if your running back sucks because your offensive line sucks, but you need a better run game. You need a run game.
Well, Kenyan Drake was like 3rd in the league though for rushing yards, and he started the season off slow. That was the biggest thing. He started off slow, but he picked it up second half though. So I think with regards to offense, I don't think Larry Fitzgerald's retiring. So he's always a good player to get on 3rd down, 3rd and short. He's not going to drop a thing.
No, I mean you got DeAndre Hopkins. You don't really need to add any more weapons. Like obviously, pick up like someone cheap for a receiver. It's not a big deal, but I don't think you need to focus getting a receiver.
No, I don't think so either. I think if you are going to do anything to the offensive side of the ball, I think the best thing for you to do is invest your money into your offensive line.
Yeah,
because they have a good receiving core. They have Isabella. He's a good hands. Fitzgerald.
They have someone else too.
Jesus,
other than D Hop.
Wow, we are not on a roll today.
But I mean,
else
like I don't
receiver who's balling.
Do you know, are the Cardinals' offensive line good or no? I don't think they are, right?
They're average. It's
Yeah,
something where they can,
regardless, like you can always get a better. Your offensive line can always improve.
yeah, like they can always improve. Like they need that one or that they need that one very experienced lineman to come in there and kind of right the
I
ship.
mean, if you guys want to trade for what the hell's his name? Not Ronnie Stanley. What the fuck's his name? The guy from Baltimore that wants out. Is it
Christian Kirk, sorry, Christian
or
Kirk.
Orlando? Oh yeah, Christian Kirk's good. Yeah,
He's a
but if
baller.
you guys got like Orlando Brown Jr. from the Ravens, that'd be a solid
Mhm.
pickup for you guys because
Yeah, and I think
he
yeah,
moved over to left tackle because our left tackle got hurt, and then now he's like apparently his goal, or he told his dad, was I always want to be a left tackle in the NFL. So he told the Ravens like I'm not going back to right. So now we're kind of forced to trade him,
mhm.
which sucks because our offensive line already struggles. But I
Well,
hope we get a good package
what
for
do you
him.
think about this idea? Who's the Miami Dolphins linebacker? I forgot his name. The Von.
Kyle Van Noy
Yeah.
that got cut.
So because his contract, $30 million and guaranteed.
You know what?
He's
I don't understand.
what's
It
that?
only saves them 10 mil.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's a
And
stupid.
he's like, from interviews I seen to, he's like seems like a good leader, like in the locker room. Like he talks about being a leader in that locker room. He's got that experience. He's won a Super Bowl. That's a guy you want in your locker room. I feel like he has that experience. He's played with the Patriots. He's won Super Bowls. He's a leader out there, which is what you want and need. Why are you cutting him?
My only thing is, unless there was something else in the works that they needed the cap space, right? Because
Maybe
and the thing with the Dolphins is they were riding the ship. You know, they had a good season. There was a lot of optimism going around there, and he was
their
kind of
defense
the
was solid this year.
yeah, they were good this year, and he was the like not say focal point, but he was like one of the main
He's a
reasons
big
that you should.
part of it.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense to me. Like it doesn't make sense at all. But what I think that Arizona might want to do, and this would just kind of complete their defense. Like maybe they definitely still have to get a good corner. They have to get a new number one because Patrick Peterson is
He's
good.
not.
He's good out of 12 to 14 of the games for the year,
Yeah.
or not even. I guess 12 probably. Like 4 games, he's gonna get burnt a lot. Like DK Metcalf torched him
Yeah.
because that's just the difference of being
Bigger, faster, stronger.
exactly right. And DK Metcalf's younger, right? So like 12 of the
Listen,
games, Patrick Pearson's gonna do good enough to shut down their number one. But when you get to those really good teams in the playoffs, like
those top tier receivers, he's not
yeah,
is not good enough anymore.
exactly right. But if you bring in, I
I don't
think
even know who a
Cardinals should
free
go
agent.
after him, man, because he'll sign a cheap contract probably. He'll go somewhere where there's a lot of hope of winning, and I think
I thought JJ Watt was signing a fucking cheap contract.
well, there was a source that came out today, and they said that the Browns and Pittsburgh, I think it was, offered
Colts.
him similar
It said
contracts,
it said Colts,
Colts, and then there was
but
one other team that offered a bit more, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
okay, supposedly. But
I might be
also,
fucking that up though.
I seen a tweet today from Pat McAfee because I watch his shit all the time. But he said after he heard that he checked with his sources, and he's on texting basis with the Colts GM, and he said with his sources they did not offer him more money. So that could be complete bullshit.
I mean, at the end of the day, all these sources were saying anywhere but Arizona, and then he goes to Arizona.
I mean, we weren't saying anywhere but Arizona, but it wasn't like a big talked about place. Like no one was like, "Oh yeah, Arizona's the top contender for."
Even as a Cardinal fan, in my head, I was like, man, you should go to the Cardinals. DeAndre Hopkins there, and DeAndre Hopkins tweeted out like, "Oh, let's finish what we started." And I was like, "Oh yeah, he's gonna go there." But then part of me was just like, probably not. There are
Now, how would
players
you
that
feel if you guys
deserve to
traded
go.
Kyler for Deshaun? Get the whole crew back together.
I mean, it's one of those trades. It's like trading DeMar DeRozan for Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, yeah,
It's gonna,
it is. Yeah, that's a great analogy.
you know what I mean? It's
Like
like
if that
they're gonna
opportunity
be
presented
better.
itself,
If
you
they got
take it.
Deshaun Watson, they would be Super Bowl. Like
Yeah,
they'd be in the Super Bowl. But like Kyler Murray, it's just like, oh, I like Kyler Murray more. But like I understand Deshaun Watson is a better quarterback. But at the end of the day, too, Deshaun Watson's a better quarterback because not necessarily because, but one of the reasons is he has more experience. He has those
yeah.
extra like year or two in the league, right? Kyler Murray has the ability to be as good as Deshaun Watson, but
Oh,
he's
for sure, for sure. But with Deshaun, you know what you're getting. Like, he's an absolute fucking stud playmaker out there.
Absolutely. So I don't know. All things considered, JJ Watt, I'm happy for the signing.
Yeah.
Good for him. He got some bank. I think it's going to work out great for the Cardinals.
Yeah. So
They're about a piece or two away from being a Super Bowl contender, man. Like a serious
yeah,
Super Bowl, not just
yeah.
one where it's like, hey, they could win. It's like, okay, they're gonna win.
Well, yeah, I said that. I said that earlier. Like, he's he definitely makes them a better team, but they're still not quite a Super Bowl contender. I think probably get someone in the draft, offensive line, depending what you're picking or who's available. But you need to get another offensive lineman and definitely a DB out there.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, with like free season this year, there's definitely opportunity out there to, get those last remaining pieces. And honestly, like the front office isn't stupid. Like they understand where their needs are. So
Yeah.
see if it happens.
Well, I mean,
Fingers are
the,
crossed.
the thing that surprised me most though was that JJ Watt is now the 9th highest paid D end. And I just kind of feel like it was a little bit of an overpayment, but I mean, he was probably getting competing offers to that. Maybe it's just because I was expecting him to take less, and I haven't.
And the thing with JJ Watt though is you're not necessarily paying for his on field. You're paying for his off field experience as well too.
Yeah, I mean, you pay for both, but yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
You know what I mean? Like he's that veteran that they need in their locker room because like they do
Yeah.
have a relatively young team.
Yeah.
Besides Fitzgerald on the offensive side, they'd have a young team. Buda
Yeah.
Baker's young. I mean, granted, Patrick Peterson is, but like I don't know if he's gonna be around next year or not. Like if I was a
Yeah.
betting man, I would say probably not unless
he takes a pay cut.
yeah. And it's like in my situation, like, I understand he's very loyal to the Cardinals. He's always said he wants to be there. So I don't necessarily see him taking a pay cut. But at the end of the day, too, it's like, what's the difference between like a $3 million contract with them or like a $12 million contract with a team that really needs a DB?
Well, see, that's my thing though. Is you never. I feel like DB is a player too, where there's a lot of time where they're very confident in themselves, and a lot of them are like they know if they know they can get more money elsewhere, they will. I don't know what Patrick Peterson's like at all. Like, so who the fuck knows? But off the Cardinals, we've been on these guys for forever.
Yeah.
Dak